Good evening and thank you for being here for North Coast News at 11 on this Friday. I'm Dania Romero. We come on the air tonight as hundreds of people have fled their homes near Willow Creek.
Having fun has no age limit. Right now I'm going to try to attempt the Down a Clown game. And what I like about this game is you don't need to be the strongest person.
Now as far as where I'm at right now, I'm right next to Fern Bridge, which is the main thoroughfare to get into Ferndale. Now as you can see, if we can turn the camera over, this huge crack right entrance of this bridge that is preventing people from coming in and out of the Ferndale area. Being in this 1963 Nova SS is way better than being in my Toyota Camry.
Now, as you can see, it's raining / snowing currently in Clam Beach, but as you can see here on this table, there is definitely enough snow to have a snowball fight out here. So that is definitely saying something.
The sign is up now thanks to members from Centro del Pueblo fixing it up over the weekend. Now they later posted on Facebook saying "Nos levantamos más fuertes," which means we come back stronger. We come on the air tonight with breaking news. Firefighters are currently working on a structure fire on the corner of Tomlinson and Broadway in Eureka. Joining us now live from the scene is Austin Castro. And Austin, I can see this is still a very active situation right behind you. What can you tell us at this hour? When I spoke to fire crews just about an hour ago, they told me that the fire was 80% contained, but just minutes before going on live, as you can see behind me, the owner of this business, Nicholas Cole, says he wishes he could have kept this business afloat, but it would have been a liability if he kept the doors open. Now, these trailers that were eventually set to house the homeless came to be after years of Betty Chin working with city officials. Now, Chin tells me that she is sad about the loss, but has a plan for the future.
So I get 3 tries and let's see how I do. Oh! That never happened.
Now, as you can see, the project is still in its early stages, but much of the base is pretty much done. Michael, all county officials agreed during the meeting that this money is vital for people set back by the earthquake. Now, although this funding won't cover 100% of the damages, it will provide some much needed relief. Now, they will be here for the next couple of days, and while they're out here, they say that they will leave the vandalized sign up and open for everyone to witness it. Now, let's give the viewers a live look right now from the top of the Ferris wheel. As you can see, lots of parents are bringing their kids out. Now, after fire crews spoke to sheriff's deputies, they told me that they have reason to believe that this fire was sparked by someone. We here in the newsroom have our own book of designs and try out new ones every once in a while. But you don't need a fancy little book to make paper airplanes. You can even use stuff like sticky notes to make paper airplanes. The race to be Eureka's next mayor is seemingly no longer a race, as one of 2 candidates in the running did not submit enough valid signatures. Lawsuits have been filed against the Roseburg Forest Company, who is being investigated for starting the mill fire. And here I have the Bacon Maple Bar. I've never had bacon on a donut, so it's going to be my first time trying it here. I'm a fan of sweet and savory treats, so I have a feeling I'm going to like it. Dozens of nurses and their supporters protested what they call unsafe staffing levels and missing pay. That's right, Austin. A young Seller Sea Lion pup named Atlas is now in the care of the center in Crescent City. The southern region of Humboldt County left in the dark.
We were pretty angry because we didn't understand how we could have gotten to this point with no real warning.
Jamara Khan is one of 76 new potential PG&E customers that won't be receiving power for his business in the next 7 years.
After the amount of time and money we had spent on the project to get to, such a late stage and basically have our whole project destroyed. All the value just disintegrates with no power.
Khan invested time and money into his cannabis nursery and processing center to provide small plants for the farmers in the area. Khan was also planning to employ 18 to 20 locals, but now he's just left with a dark and cold empty building after PG&E told him 3 months ago, sorry, we can't hook you up.
We had become aware of projects that were completed in the southern Humboldt area and that were not being hooked up to power, and we couldn't get any answers.
Even worse, County Supervisor Michelle Bushnell was appalled that a hospital that was in the process of opening up is caught in the same power struggle.
I let them know that we had a hospital that's coming up in southern Humboldt that has to be hooked up. It's not It has to be done. There's not an option.
After speaking with the CEO of Soham Health, Matt Reese, he fears what the pushback of the hospital development will do to the community. What was your reaction when you found out that PG&E wasn't going to have enough capacity to support the development of the hospital?
Yeah, I was really surprised when PG&E came out and said that they don't have the power to support a new hospital or any other buildings in the area. There's been hundreds of rural hospitals closing, and there's been studies done on the communities after the rural hospitals close. Those communities don't survive.
Officials said in a recent supervisors meeting it would take 3 to 7 years, depending on the business, and would cost about $300 million. But even then, power won't be guaranteed. Do you personally trust PG&E to give you power in those 7 years?
Well, first of all, 7 years is that's a death sentence anyways, so it doesn't matter. But the short answer is no, because I don't understand how we got to this point where they're taking applications and taking money.
People like Khan feel like they are powerless in battling PG&E.
PG&E is basically taking no responsibility. I said, who's going to be accountable for this?
Rain and bricks fell during the early hours of December 20th. The Lloyd Building on 5th Street currently undergoing safety inspections following the 6.4 earthquake that rocked Humboldt County. It's reportedly not being used, however, the surrounding businesses are.
A little hard to do business right now. This is my front door.
Chris Larson is feeling the effects as bricks from this 4-story building crashed down onto the North Coast Audio Building, crashing through the roof and second floor.
And here is the culprit that came through the roof. Rick, I'm glad no one was in here when that happened.
This building that is over a century old, as Larson shows us images of its early years, is now a safety hazard.
This was taken about 10 years ago. That's kind of what it looks like now, but that's what it looked like originally.
Although it's an iconic part of the Eureka City skyline, city officials may have to take it down after inspection. Larson says this has caused thousands of dollars worth in damages to not only his business roof, but also the expensive equipment he had in his store.
The timing, though, couldn't be worse. I'm in the electronics business. I sell TVs and stereos, and the week before Christmas is my absolute biggest week of the year, and it's pretty much ruined at this point. But you know, on the flip side, I get it for the need for safety.
City Manager Miles Slattery says this isn't the only building that felt heavy impacts from the earthquake.
There's at least 4 or 5 that I'm aware of. Some of them are structural, some of them are just fascia and issues like that could potentially pose a hazard, but they're all being looked at.
Slattery also says they've been inspecting it and trying to determine its safety and whether or not it's a threat, but in the future, this building may no longer be standing. Northern Air has been teaching students how to fly at Murray Field in Eureka for decades. One flight instructor, Rose Hannon, has been doing so for 30 years. One of her students, now flying for a commercial airline, thanking Northern Air for making her dreams come true.
Learning to fly at Eureka Murray has given me the opportunity to become an airline pilot. Aviation is a community. It's a very small community. And I'd hate to see that go away if Northern Air closed.
But that business now in danger of closing its gates for good. For years, Hannon has been paying the county $1,500 a month, but starting March 1st, she now faces a rent bill of over $10,000, a rent increase of over 500%.
My big question is, how does the county derive $10,000? How do they go from $1,500 to $10,000?
Hannon says when the rent goes up in March, it will ultimately shut down instruction at Northern Air. According to 4th District Supervisor Virginia Bass, the cause of this rent increase, as she calls it, is due to unattended consequences.
We didn't set out to do anything and, kill somebody's business. We unfortunately, I guess unintended consequences. We are complying with what the FAA has asked.
According to Humboldt County's aviation director, Cody Rogatz, the issue stems from an unidentified third party filing a complaint to the FAA in regards to mismanagement of airports in Humboldt County. How does the county go by raising the rent at Murray Fields by over 500%? How does the county get into that position?
It was identified within that letter that we, had not been following FAA protocols and requirements, and part of that was conducting an appraisal to see what the value was of our different leaseholds, and Northern Air was a part of that, of course. So we've done that appraisal now, and we're working on implementation of that across the county.
A lack of charging appropriate rent was one of them. Tough words to hear for Hannon, who says it won't be easy to keep Northern Air going.
I think the rise in rent was definitely a pivotal moment because there's no, he was having trouble making money on the business as it was.
Students with the construction program at the College of the Redwoods are hard at work fixing up some facilities at Carson Park in Eureka. They are constructing a new bathroom that will follow Americans with Disabilities Act compliance rules, as well as a new basketball court.
The construction classes, it just gives us the chance to do things on our own and kind of take that power for ourselves.
This will be the first time the construction program has ever worked with the city, according to City Manager Miles Slattery.
This is the first time that the College of the Redwoods program will be working on a job specific to the city, which is unique.
The city of Eureka providing resources and the school providing the labor.
So it provides a little bit of extra training for those college students to get some experience in the commercial building trade.
Phase 1 began last month, and the program says they have made great progress, prioritizing the much-needed bathrooms that the professor of the construction program, Derek Lavich, says cannot be used because they are not ADA compliant.
Unfortunately, this park is limited by not having bathrooms. People can only be here an hour before they have to leave, so it'll be a huge upgrade to the park.
Then moving on to the basketball courts.
We're going to get ready to start laying out the basketball courts here pretty soon also, and we're hoping to have the new bathrooms dried in by the end of the semester.
There is no exact date on when these renovations will be finished, but for the time being, students say they enjoy getting to be a part of the process.
What the benefit of this program is everyone's going to get to see the big picture of this process, like from point A all the way through the entire project.